Being a support person is very rewarding, but it can be daunting if you don't feel like you know what you're doing. And I'm going to give you 10 simple tips for how to talk to someone about their mental health. Tip number 1. Before approaching someone to talk, make a plan so that you're feeling calm. It's best not to stick with the plan though if it doesn't feel right. The most important thing is just to be present in the moment with the person you're supporting. Tip number 2. Plan an activity you could do with them while having the conversation. It's much easier to have difficult conversation with someone when you have something else to focus on, especially as it supports those moments of silence which are useful for reflection and allowing feelings to surface. For example, going for a walk or gardening together. Tip number 3. Ensure the environment is safe for someone to open up. Ask if you could talk one-to-one and don't just bring it up in front of a group of people. Also, check if they're in the right headspace by asking their permission to have the conversation. Don't just launch into it. For example, you could ask them whether they want to talk about the thoughts that they've been having. It's important to accept no for an answer though, but you can check with them if they're open to speak about it another time or whether they want to speak to someone else instead. Tip number 4. If they're willing to talk, then it's best to be direct in your question. For example, you can ask, I've noticed that you've been not your usual self lately. Can you tell me what's going on? Tip number 5. The key to good support is listening attentively. It's important to not be distracted by your thoughts and be too focused on what you're going to say next. If the person notices that you're not paying attention, they might feel that their experience is not worth hearing. You can be a good listener by noticing when your attention has wandered and then bring it back to the person that's speaking. And finally, don't be afraid of silence. Often silence is needed for someone to gather their courage to say something vulnerable. So just take your time and relax into the conversation. In the next video, I'll be sharing the next 5 tips with you.